talking about the future and everything. She's like, we're done. We're not, what do you mean we're separated? It's like, we're not together. I don't want to be with you. I'm like, well, hang on, let's work on this. I need help. We both need to work on this as an opportunity to finally do that. She said, no, I'm done. And so that night, I share all that because that was like ultimate rejection.
There are a lot of guys out there right now who are winning in business, winning in their careers, even winning in the gym, but they're losing in life. They're tired, they're anxious, they don't feel connected. Their kids get whatever is left of them, and they're drained from chasing whatever's next. And they know something is off. Today we're talking with a man who has lived that story at a very real level, and instead of letting it break him, he's rebuilding from the inside out. My guest today is Vince Del Monte. You may know him from the fitness world, from his business coaching, or from helping thousands of men transform their bodies and their lives. But the most powerful part of Vince's story isn't about muscles or business success. It's about identity and what happens when your sense of worth gets tangled up in your performance. Vince, man, I'm really glad that you're here with us today. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, Stu, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. Vince, I want to start just with something I know you've said publicly, but you were hitting like big goals. You'd had success. You had all the visibility and everything, but you felt like your identity was tied to your income and your achievements. Can you walk us into that a bit? What did it feel like from the inside? How did you start realizing that was the case?
I was easily triggerable.
Oh.
I was emotionally dysregulated. So if you ask anyone in my family, they would say, Vince's mood is dictated based on how much money he made that day. So if we had a good sales day, you would know it. If I had a bad sales day, you would know it. That put my wife on edge. She was tiptoeing, trying to be supportive, but trying not to, make that a big deal because, it was a very nice financial situation I had established for the family. So I think even women get torn in that situation where the guy's providing a very nice lifestyle, but at the same time, it's not what she signed up for. She wants a relationship. So I think that creates tension there. But I was just moody. The best way to put it, I was like a little baby. Like I was a man-child. Where, my mood was so dictated based on what was happening in the business. If somebody left the team or if we get a new hire, or just everything was very reactive to circumstances. There was very little peace that was rooted in anything of substance. It was very, hey, we gained a bunch of members. Hey, new testimonials. Hey, the ads are working. Hey, we had so many people sign up for the event. Or vice versa. Hey, what's going on? We need to sell tickets. Or hey, so-and-so just quit. Or hey, we got a member who's poaching clients. So my mood was so dependent based on what was happening, like literally hour by hour, week by week in the business. That's how I showed up, to a point where even my family would almost be like hesitant, scared to see me. Like what was described was that I ruined a lot of family occasions. So, Christmas, I'd be in the car, like talking to, the team about something when I should be inside of all places. What should I be doing? I was responding to something that could have waited. And, I've later found out that a lot of control comes from fear, and fear comes from insecurities. So I was able to start to decode like what was actually going on. And I was rarely present. I was always available. I worked from home. So I came upstairs at 4:30, 5:30. I didn't work on weekends, but which sounds like on a social media post, wow, this guy's like got a great business, a great family. He ends his work early. He doesn't work on weekends. But just because you say you end your day at 4:30 or don't work weekends, I was my mind was always somewhere else. To the point where, my kids could tell, like, Daddy, you're pretending that you're listening, but I know you're not listening. And they just get frustrated with me.
I think there are probably a lot of guys watching, listening, who would relate to like those types of symptoms, like you're describing. Just you're there, but you're not there. You're present, but you're not attentive. And it usually, before it shows up in business, those things show up at home.
Yeah.
You know, and in relationships and everything else. So when did you really notice things were breaking?
Well, when they broke completely and they were unfixable. It was 3 years ago this month. It's actually 3 years ago this month in 5 days. It was November 15th. It was a Monday night. I remember like it was yesterday. But her and I got into a massive fight. I said stuff that I should have never said. I told her essentially I didn't love her and I didn't love the kids. And it was a form of self-defense because she'd said some mean things to me and I didn't know how to retaliate or protect myself, so I wanted to hurt her. So I said those things. But what she said back to me was, you know, kind of like the beginning of the end. And she said, "This is the first time you've been honest." And I didn't know what she meant by that. Because I knew deep down I didn't actually mean what I just said, but she said, "This is the first time you've been honest." It literally took me months to actually clue in that that was her reality. I was in so much denial of like defending my good that I knew I had issues, but I'm like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Like, look at the house, look at the lifestyle. You don't work. Look at how I've provided. You know, you don't have to worry about anything other than taking care of the kids. This is the way it's supposed to be. So I was a master at defending my good, but I didn't take ownership of like where I constantly dropped the ball. So, you know, what happened was I took off to Tennessee because we just closed on a dream home. We built this beautiful home in Franklin, Tennessee while we were living in Toronto. So we both decided, let's get out of Toronto. And we spent 1.5 years building a dream home in another country. So with the belief that we were going to get a visa and a green card, like we started building a house in another country without having a visa and a green card. Oh, wow. So like you could just imagine, like I didn't think there was anything, like I knew there was issues, but I never ever thought that my relationship could get to a point of divorce. Just never crossed my mind. I was the guy that says, we don't use the D word. That's just not who we are. We're Christians. We don't divorce. People like us, this is just not even an option for people like us. So what happened was, you know, a lot of dysfunctional communication for years, compounding, neglect, and, you know, my partner who didn't feel seen or loved or felt like I even wanted to be in a relationship. And when it came to that fight, she believed what I'd said based on her experience. Now, I'm probably painting a super negative picture of myself, but I am doing this purposely as well so that men like can appreciate that their actions have consequences that can't just be erased with a quick "I'm sorry." Because there's like zero intimacy in "I'm sorry." Right. And I went to Tennessee for a month and like, hey, let's cool down. Oh, she also said to me, you need to get help. And what I said was, I didn't even remember. She reminded me months and months later when we were with a therapist. She said, do you remember what you said to me when I said you need to go get help or we're done? And I said, apparently, I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need help. I went to Tennessee for a month. I came back thinking that it was now Christmas time, that, you know, we're going to get things going again. And I, you know, it's like, hey, you know, talking about the future and everything. She's like, we're done. What do you mean we're done? It's like, we're done. We're separated. I'm like, what does that mean? What do you mean we're separated? It's like, we're not together. I don't want to be with you. I'm like, well, hang on. Let's do one of these therapeutic separations where let's have an agreement for 3 months, 6 months, and let's put some stuff down on paper. Let's work on this. I need help. We both need to work on this as an opportunity. You know, I just started like selling, like, hey, let's turn this into a positive and let's get help. Let's like finally do that. She said, no, I'm done. And her position was that I already tried and I got nothing in return. And I don't want to risk being alone and feel like I've felt, you know, she says, since the kids came around this way, like anymore. And I'm like, whoa, I'm awake now. And her position, and I share this to just also wake dudes up. I tried, I got nothing in return. It's too late. What do you mean it's too late? We're married. We have rings on. We're Christians. We said vows. We did it in front of our family, in front of God, in a church. Like what do you mean it's too late? This is 10 years. We still have 40, 50 years. This is for better or for worse, till death do us part. And just, I'm done.
Yeah.
And so that night, I share all that because that was like ultimate rejection.
Yeah.
And rejection has been a theme in my life since I was in high school. And I've always tried to fit in. So this like opened up a wound that I didn't actually even know that was running me, that helped me become a good entrepreneur, because in entrepreneurship, you're constantly selling yourself, improving yourself, and showing up. So it's a dysfunctional way of becoming successful, a survival strategy, but nonetheless, it can help you build a business.
Yeah, for sure.
Dysfunctionally. So when I realized like she actually meant that I'm done, and there was nothing that I could do, I panicked. I freaked out. I got angry. I broke a lot of things in the home. It was a horrendous night. It was a horrific night. And I realized I need to get help. And then she's like, I don't believe that you're trying to get help for you. I believe you just want to get help because you want me back. This is inconvenient. This doesn't look good on your social media. And it's too late. Like I've already been with, so I, to this day, will always give her credit for having the courage to like stand up and just say like, I can't do this any longer. Because if she hadn't, things would have continued as they were. Things would not have changed, because that was the sledgehammer that like woke me up. So I unfortunately needed that level of pain to like see that I have issues that I need to fix for me. And if I get back with you or not, like I need to change, period. That didn't truly sink in for a while, because it was like, again, it was still like, you're selfish. All you care about is yourself. You don't even really want me back. You just don't want the family to break up. You just need a helper around the house. You know, it was just, I'm like, some of those things are very true. Like I don't want the family to break up. I do want a helper. I still want to keep our family together. And then I had to start to really go internal and figure out like, what am I holding on to? And you know, things started to unfold to realize there were a lot of things that I was tolerating in the marriage. And I started to look at like, there's a lot of things that I've not, you know, took a stand for, said, hey, this is not okay. Hey, we can't talk to each other like this. And these things need to change because I want an actual intimate relationship too. So all of these things started to unravel and reveal, and started to figure out how we got there. And that's been about a 3-year process.
So I want to, first of all, I appreciate you being so real about all of that. Like we were talking before the show, and it's not a natural thing for, I think, most human beings, but men especially. We don't like to be vulnerable. And we don't want to seem like we need anything. We want to seem like we are powerful, capable, in control at all times. And it's just not true of anyone. No one is that person, but we all try to put on a persona for that. I want to talk directly to the man who's watching, listening, who is saying like, well, I'm doing all this for my family. I'm providing. That's how I show love. You have lived through the very real consequences of that mindset. What would you say actually happens when a man has that? I'm winning in public, but I'm losing in private.
Oh man. I remember we had that fight once when I screamed from the basement when she was yelling at me about something about, you know, you're supposed to be up at 4:30, and we made this promise and that I would end my day at this certain time. And it wasn't about the time. It was just about, you know, the promise that I would end my day and be present with the family. Like she was fully supportive of me working. Like she was fully like, always had my back to, hey, go do what you got to do. But all she wanted was to like end the day when you say you're going to end the day. And I kept like taking advantage, kept taking advantage, pushing it 5 o'clock, 5:30, coming upstairs, lying on the couch, delaying when the whole family has dinner. So I was just always just pushing things. And guys are basically trying to fill wounds from their past. It's typically, I think for most guys, like validation, not feeling like they're enough, not feeling like they're the man. And I think when a guy gets good at something, maybe it's athletics, maybe it's business, they will fill those gaps with things like success, with fame, with money, with busyness. And the big thing for guys is like, it's they're more concerned with how they look publicly than with what's going on privately, because what's happening privately, you can't post on social media.
Yeah, no.
You can't make a public...
social media is one big lie. It's just about putting forth the false version of yourself,
so
for the most part.
I think it's just deep-rooted insecurities that men don't deal with. And then most of us men, we do find our identities in what we do, and what we have, and how much we accomplish, where we stand amongst other guys. And some of these things are actually like healthy to a degree, but not to a point where they're just never enough. It's just, it's constantly self-consuming. And we don't learn like a concept called contentment, where we're grateful for what we have. I think that's what happened to me. I was trying to keep up. So I was downstairs working, pushing the limits, and she yelled downstairs, you're always taking advantage of us, something like that. And I yelled back, no, I'm doing this for the family. You don't appreciate anything I'm doing. She said, you're not doing this for the family. This is how you worked before we even got together. You're doing this for you. Now, that stung a lot, because deep down I was doing it for my family. I take great pride in being a provider. Yeah. And I think being a provider is a very important trait. Yeah. And
it's a God-given assignment, really.
Absolutely. I think provision, protection is something that a man's got to make happen. And I did it very, very well. But to the extent where I was now crossing a line where it wasn't about just, because we had more than enough. Yeah. Like we had more. She didn't work. She had everything she needed. We had a big home. We had protection. We had provision. We had so much that we could have taken. We could have retired, and we could have spent years working on our marriage. Didn't even think about doing that. Yeah. So it's crazy. Then all of a sudden, she doesn't want to be together, and I want to be together. And the only thing I realized that I actually wanted when I lose it was a relationship. And I didn't even realize that we had so much margin that, man, I could have worked 3 or 4 days a week. We could have gone to, Europe for a summer. We could have traveled. We could have done all these things. We could have hired people. We could have taken the time necessary to work on the thing we neglected. Yeah. And that's what's so crazy, because it could have been avoided.
Yeah. Yeah. What I hear you saying is really like, we will go to every length to avoid looking in the mirror and seeing the hard truth about ourselves. Yeah. Like often I think the things we run to are the thing that is, it's our spray painting over the mirror. So it's not reflecting light back at us.
100%.
What would you say for you is kind of that hardest truth that you learned about yourself in that season? You kind of hinted at some things earlier.
The biggest truth I first learned was that, one, I took my marriage for granted. Yeah. I took vows for granted. I just figured if you stand, at an altar in front of your family, in front of God, that was enough. Oh, she's a Christian. I'm a Christian. My parents didn't divorce. Oh, your parents didn't divorce. Yeah. People like us, don't get divorced. I don't have to worry about this one. Yeah. I got that checked off before, on the third date when we talked about it. I don't have to actually work on having a connected relationship. So that was the very first mistake. Woman can walk. I tell every guy straight up, I don't care how godly your woman is, she can get up and walk. If she has had enough and you think, well, no, she can get up and walk. They have options. Women have options. There's a whole different, I don't agree with the mindset and the messaging around you can do this on your own, blah, blah, blah. But women believe this. Yeah. And they believe that the grass is greener on the other side, and people have hey, prioritize your happiness. Sure. This is a real message today. The whole new age thing, right? It's a very real message. So that's the first thing I warn guys about. Do not think that your wife one day will just be there forever. Yeah. If you have issues that are small right now, they will become big. Yeah. So if there's something you're sweeping under the rug, go fix it. Yeah. Because a lot of women as well, they don't want to rock the boat. And they want to be a good little wife. And they want to be supportive and loving and take care of the kids, and they will sacrifice their own happiness. They'll sacrifice their own standards, their own boundaries in order to appease their man out of fear that I don't want to be the one that breaks up the family. So then they suffer until one day they say enough is enough. Yeah. So that's my first thing I tell men, don't think your marriage is invincible. Yeah. Just because you go to church, you guys read the Bible, you worship. Now, these are all things that help. But like what I've learned is like, we were not in love with Jesus individually, like separately. Like we did not, we went to church, but we were not delighting at the master's feet on a daily basis. Like we believed in God, we believed in everything we celebrate and all that, but we weren't fully walking a Christ-centered, biblically anchored, spirit-led life.
Yeah.
And I think because neither of us were going to Christ for forgiveness and for obedience, you know, you just had two people battling it out as opposed to, hey, let's bring this to the Father. And like,
well, you each end up like wanting the other to fill that role that Jesus isn't.
Yes.
You're not turning to him to fill.
100%.
And no human being can bear that weight.
100%. Yeah.
That'll crush you.
That's what was happening.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, that was like a big one. There's a lot of lessons, but I'm going to just give you one more. Another thing that I realized a lot about myself was that I was disconnected from myself. My head and my heart were not connected. One of my first therapists said, furthest 18 inches a man will ever travel is from his head to his heart. And most men, what I mean by that is they live from their head, from what their mind tells them as opposed to what their heart tells them. So they don't feel. They have a lot of unprocessed emotions. And us guys, we don't like to feel lonely. We don't like to feel bored. We don't like to feel understimulated. So we fill those voids, sometimes with work, sometimes with weed, sometimes with drugs, sometimes with porn, sometimes with alcohol, sometimes with gaming, movie, whatever. Yeah. And we don't want to deal with this pain that's been unprocessed. I was forced to figure out, like, how did I get here? And that's when I realized I was disconnected from myself. And what I mean by that is I didn't see value in spending time with myself. Yeah. I didn't see value in just being on my own and just reading and journaling and just walking and listening to my thoughts and just spending time with myself. If you don't see value in spending time with yourself, you're not going to see value in spending time with somebody else. It's like I didn't have a relationship with myself, so I didn't see a value in having a relationship with another person. Yeah. And because there wasn't like a trust in myself, because of the time I spent with myself, I didn't see the value in doing that with somebody else as well. So when I processed all this, I realized what I ultimately want was to be in a connected and intimate relationship. The therapist asked me, do you know how you get that? And I said, no, how? She said, vulnerability. And vulnerability is basically like two people getting naked. You see everything. And when you see everything, you can use somebody else's weaknesses against them. You can destroy them. You can embarrass them, right? When you can see somebody naked, you can hurt somebody. And that was the thing that I think a lot of marriages don't have, is that safety to be able to share what they're feeling. And I think that is one of the most intimate things that you can experience with another person, which is to share your feelings. When I share with you what I'm truly feeling right now, that's the most intimate experience we're going to have. Because you actually know, because you also have an opportunity to respond. And when you respond and you're honest as well, then there's a connection. There's a safety. It's like, hey, we can trust each other, even if we don't agree with what we're talking about. But it's like, oh, that's how you feel? I'm like, I'm so sorry, man. I'm like, yeah. Okay, cool. Now we're connected. Yeah. And we have something strong. We can have another conversation, maybe about something heavier, and that's going to make it even stronger. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are afraid to get naked. Yeah. And to get create that space for safety. So what they do is they just, oh, I'm not going to tell her that. I don't want to hurt her. You know, I'm going to keep that little secret, that weed that I smoke at night by myself. I'm going to keep that to myself. She doesn't need to know that. That doesn't affect her. Or that's innocent. Or this is just how I take the edge off at night. I just go downstairs and have a couple shots on my own, whatever. Yeah. So then all of a sudden, what are you ultimately doing? You're self-medicating, and she doesn't even know about it. She's not even a part of it. It's like you're creating distance. Yeah. And you're creating this distance between you and the person that could support you and serve you and love you and help heal. And I just didn't have that. So that's how we got there.
I think it's interesting to me. You have this background in fitness and bodybuilding, that kind of stuff. Like, one thing that you know is the only way that you grow is by being committed to that craft, really.
Right.
Like you're going to grow muscles not by lifting the tiny weights. You're going to grow by pushing progressive overload, all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
We get this as men because that seems so obvious, usually. But the same holds true with relationships. And we tend, and being vulnerable, like you described, we tend to push that away. It's like, no, that's progressive over. I don't want that.
Yeah.
And we end up being like, we could be in great shape. We could have great success, but we're atrophied in other areas.
Right.
I don't know who it was, but there's that analogy of your life is like a wheel with spokes, and each spoke is something in your life. It could be your finances. It could be your marriage. It could be your relationship with your kids, your honesty, your career. If one of those is off by just a little bit, you get a bump, in the wheel. You want them to be healthy and balanced and everything. And I do think that's the thing, men, we struggle so bad to be like honest and vulnerable and real about what we're really struggling with, and not just go, I'm fine, everything's fine, I can handle it, I don't want to hurt someone. And really, when you said that earlier, when I say I don't want to hurt them, I'm actually putting on them the fear I have, which is I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
I don't want to be hurt by being vulnerable.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I think that's the greatest tactic of the enemy as well, to think that you're struggling by yourself.
Yeah.
And that you're the only person that is going through this, because then you're stuck in this cycle of shame.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's not that I'm failing at this area of my life, but I am a failure.
Yeah.
So, in the men's coaching program I have, we do this thing every week on our coaching called the Mighty Men Council, where it's called confession time. And the way the program is built, it's like 75 hard.
Okay.
Where we have 6 daily non-negotiables, and it's a start at night. It's your evening routine, own the morning, which is your morning routine, nail your workout, stick to your diet, 2-hour no phone zone, and read 10 pages a day. So there's 6 daily disciplines.
Yeah, I like that.
And at the end of the day in our WhatsApp channel, you have to give yourself a green checkbox or a red X.
Ooh. So
knowing myself, there was times I've given myself a green checkbox when I didn't earn the green checkbox.
Yeah.
My meal plan is white rice, but I had hot dogs with the kids, and my meal plan didn't call for white bread. And I could justify in my mind when I hit the same macros. It was a lie.
Yeah.
It was a lie.
So
I tell the guys, okay, guys, it's confession time. You're all going to confess one green checkbox you gave yourself this past week that was really an X. And I'll go first. So I confess. And I talked about how it was another stupid issue, but it was something that I gave myself a green checkbox. I justified, I rationalized, and then the whole room went, and every single dude had something they lied about. Every guy, every dude's a liar, right? And I said, why do we all lie, right? And I think at the end of the day, most guys value fitting in, feeling like they're one of the guys rather than being free. I said, how do you guys all feel right now? Just like sharing the facts. Every guy looked lighter in the room. I said, the facts set you free.
Yeah.
The facts set you free. And people don't want to share the truth because they're fearful of what happens if they're set free.
Yeah.
So they'd rather live in these lies, this comfort, and this fake, like, I'm one of the guys, when what are we doing here, guys? Yeah. Are we going to continue like this every week? So now it's a weekly thing where I call it's confession time. And I don't make them confess. Yeah. But once one guy opens up, everyone's like, I messed up this area too. And it's a weekly thing. So I'm like, guys, we're not here to judge. We're not here to add emotion to this. But let's keep digging into why we keep lying every freaking week. Yeah. It's either a red or a check.
Yeah, that's amazing, because I think it ties back to Christianity. Like, the truth is, Jesus, he says the truth will set you free, right? Yeah. It's not just saying true things, but it's actually the truth about something in particular, and that's you and your need. And if I am denying that I have sin,
Right.
It says in 1 John, he's like, the one who says he has no sin is a liar, and the truth isn't in him.
Right.
But if we confess our sins, he's faithful and just to forgive us our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness.
Yes.
It comes back in that lightness, right? Like, oh man, I was carrying this weight, and I didn't even realize how much real estate that was occupying in my brain till I cleared the air, and just now. And the other part is that community that you're saying. One guy goes, and it's just dominoes. They all go, I feel so much better. I didn't have to go first.
It's interesting. I just thought of something when you said that. When you think about like what sin does, like why don't I want to sin anymore? I don't want to sin because it separates me from God.
Yeah.
And I want to be like close to him. And it's interesting when you sin, or, sin being a lie, when you lie to other dudes, you distance yourself. Mm-hmm. Right? Like you have this opportunity, same thing back to my relationship, where if I was honest to say, hey, this is what I'm feeling right now. If I knew how to have that conversation, had those tools, and just in both of our defenses, like we didn't have really tools. Like we were so busy building and having just a fun life that we didn't make time for like learning how to properly communicate and just, there's coaching on this stuff. And I think guys don't see the opportunity to say, hey, I'm still struggling with this.
Yeah.
And we talked about vulnerability. I heard a great line, vulnerability leads to stability. And like, what does that mean? Well, what it means is that if I open up to you about something, say, hey man, I'm going through a rough patch with my business. It's like really struggling. Like, oh dude, what's going on? Oh, this goes going on. I'm like, oh, I can help you with that. But if I'm like, oh, business is good. Yeah, we're crushing it. Everything's good. I don't get any stability because I wasn't vulnerable.
Yeah.
So when I went through my separation, one of the best things I think I did was I told a bunch of dudes.
Oh.
I told a lot. I also got a big mouth and I yap. So it wasn't something that I kept to myself. I'm like, you won't believe what's going on right now. I told my brothers. I eventually told my mom and my dad. Then they started, my dad's in ministry, and he's got, a lot of the men that he ministers have been divorced.
Yeah.
So he started connecting me with men who've come out the other side. And he's like, you got to talk to this guy. You got to talk to this guy. I started talking to some business buddies. Like, hey, let's go out for lunch. And now I got guys texting me, hey, checking in on you. How you doing? How you holding up? If I hadn't enlisted a ton of dudes, like men, to check in on me, there would have been days I wouldn't have got out of bed. Because most days I did not want to get out of bed. I'm like, I'm done. Yeah. This sucks. I don't want to. Never suicidal thoughts, but I was just like, I don't want to work today. Yeah. I didn't see any purpose of like work. It just felt like stupid. Like money felt stupid. I'm like, all I wanted was her back and us back and our family back. It's all I wanted. I just wanted like to do everything right from the get-go, and I couldn't. It was too late.
Man, that hits, like I feel that in there, like just to be in that place where you're like, everything that I thought I wanted, I got, and I lost everything I really want, and I would give anything to get all that back.
Yeah.
It's that Cats in the Cradle song, It's that classic, like the dad is ignoring his son throughout the song, and then when his son's finally grown, his son does the same to him, because it's like the song everybody hates to love, because it's so tragic, But that's our lives often, is we think, I'll spend my time dedicated to things that don't matter ultimately, that I can't take with me when I die, and I will neglect the things that are eternal, which are the people in my life, my wife, my children. And but all of that to say, there is healing, there is recovery. I think healing takes time. Like we as men, we want to fix things, right? We want to go like, I can just jump in and it'll be done tomorrow. But healing will only go as fast as the process allows. There's no like gas pedal to just push it to the limit. Yeah. So for you, what did it kind of look like to be you're in it now, but that process to being committed to rebuilding? Yeah, so it's been 3 years since that, November 15, 2022. So we're coming up to literally 3 months to the day. The first thing that I did was I cried out to Jesus. Yeah. It was Christmas time when I came back from Tennessee, and I remember being downstairs. I remember putting on a song called Miracles by Jesus Culture. I just started weeping. And it's crazy because I never really was a crier. Mm-hmm. Like for my whole life, I think 2 funerals I cried, but I never really, really cried my entire life. Yeah. So the very first thing was like, I cried out to Jesus, and I remember having my hands like
stretched out on my knees, just crying, like, I can't believe this is happening. And that's when I experienced the supernatural presence of him, and I felt his arms wrap around me. And I heard him say, I love you for not who you could be or should be, but because of who you are. You're my son.
Oh, man. That's the mic drop right there.
And I actually, I felt that. Like, because I always heard growing up, oh, you're a son. Don't forget your identity. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
I didn't get it. Like, what do you mean I'm a son?
What do I do with
Big
that?
deal. I'm a son. Like, everybody's a son. There's a million men on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, what's the big deal? Why should I?
We're all somebody's son.
I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
And then when I realized I have a Father in heaven that loved me, you know, I wanted to respond in the same way that he was extending me mercy and compassion and love and grace. And I all of a sudden had this like, oh, this is how I was supposed to show up. Yeah. And I wanted to extend that back out into another human being. But before that, I needed to do it for myself. Yeah. So I had to, you know, they say you can't forgive yourself, only God can forgive you. But I believe there is a process of forgiving yourself. I had to forgive myself. Yeah. I had to learn how to love myself again. I had to learn how to extend myself compassion. I had to learn how to connect with, like, you know, my little boy, the kid that was neglected, and say, hey man, I'm here for you. Like, and identify when that first happened, and to start coaching him up and recognizing like when those thoughts started to come in, intrusive thoughts, and that I would know like where they were coming from. So I had to understand my story. Yeah. That was the first part of rebuilding, is like understanding, how did I get here? And really understanding my strengths, but then also the shadow side of my strengths. Yeah. And really starting to, like, as you said, look in the mirror and stop defending all of my bad with good. And actually, hey, hang on a sec. There is some stuff here that is not good. Yeah. And actually, I need to look at this stuff, and it's okay to hate it. There's parts about me that I actually hate. Yeah. There was a part where I had to go through a self-hatred process of like, I hate this part about me. I don't hate me, but I hate this part about me. And I had to ask, do I want to be dealing with this stuff? So it was working on a lot of the traumas from the past I didn't even know were running me. And then it became like a much more next step practical thing of figuring out like how my business was set up. My business, I had over 40 team members, 4 closers, 4 setters, 7 coaches, a CMO, a CFO. Like, it was a full-blown machine. We were running sizable events. You know, the business was doing multiple 7 figures a year, and it was just very stressful. Yeah. So I had to start looking at, why is this business so stressful? And it was because it was very cash-based. We didn't have a lot of like MRR, subscription stuff. So I just started looking at even some of the clientele. We're taking on too many beginners, and just a lot of things I just started to look at, like, why am I doing this? Oh, because so-and-so is doing it. He just passed $1 million a month. Yeah. And I got to keep up with so-and-so. Yeah. And so-and-so just got to this level. And he said that if you want to get to this level, then you have to set your business up like this. And it was just like I was doing what I was told to do by default. And I built a successful business, if you will, from the world's eyes. But it wasn't by design. Yeah. I was working too much. I hadn't traveled for 12 years. I told my wife after we got married, we're going to come to Europe every single year. We had the time, we had the money. Guess how many times we went to Europe after we got married? 0. Oh, man. 0 times. 12 years. All of a sudden, I'm like, hey, let's do all those trips. Why am I initiating those trips now? I was always too busy. Yeah. There was always something to work on. So I realized that I wanted to build a better business and not a bigger business. And I actually heard something from one of my mentors. I started to say, but I can't let go of the team's family. And he said, Vince, your family's your family. Yes. Your team is not your family. Yes. Your clients are not your family. I'm like, and that really hit me. I'm like, your family are your 3 kids and your partner, if you have one. That's your family. Is the business actually serving them first and foremost? And it wasn't, because I wasn't present. So I didn't even set up the business in a way that actually served the people that I said the business was supposed to serve in the first place. Yeah. So there was a whole process of like downsizing my business, which was also very scary, because we were the largest fitness business coaching program in the space. And, most guys were hunting me down, and I was the guy everybody who people wanted to be because of the size of my business and all that in the fitness business coaching space. And so I was going through this process of watching one guy pass me and then another guy pass me and then another guy. And I was going backwards, but I was just holding on to dear life. Like I was just trying to keep it together. So that was all a gift though. That was all a gift. God was like literally refining me to like refine my business to create something sustainable and to create a better product.
Yeah. For the guys who are that high performer, that entrepreneur, what advice would you give them to really like build their business in a way that serves their life and not just consumes it?
Let's just forget God for a second. Forget faith for a second. I would just ask him a simple, what do you want?
That's a great question.
Like let's just forget like what Jesus wants for you. Let's even just pause for a second. Like what is God's vision for your life? Let's just like unspiritualize everything for a second and ask a very simple question. Like, what do you even want? Most guys can't answer that question.
No.
Freedom. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Does that mean like working 4 hours a day? Does that mean working, taking every Friday off? Does that mean like, what about generosity? What about like trips? What about life? Like most guys don't know what they want. Yeah. They don't have clarity on what they want. And what I mean by want is not just like physical, like material possessions. What I mean is what do you want in terms of the desired emotional end state you want at the end of your day? How do you want to feel? Yeah. What I actually wanted was to feel alive and peaceful. And what I felt like was I was exhausted. And I was under stress. I'm like, imagine being able to go to bed just feeling peaceful. Always peaceful. Like, wow, is that even possible? What would that business need to look like? One, I'd have a lot less people. I'd have more dream clients. I'd be charging more. I wouldn't be creating this type of content, which I hate creating just to try and go viral. I'd be only creating this type of content. I would be taking Fridays off. I would be traveling this much, with these people. Yeah. So I kind of started to reverse engineer. I'd have a lot more subscription revenue so that like I know how much I'm waking up to on the first of every month. So I would just like, all right, cool. The business isn't even optimized for what's most important to me.
Yeah.
So what I want to start optimizing the business for, more fun, more profits, and more client results. Okay, cool. If those are my North Stars, what do we have to stop doing and what do we have to keep doing?
Yeah.
So how do I actually make this business serve me? Because in business, what's really cool is that everything works.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Everything works.
Yeah,
Low ticket works, high ticket works, YouTube works, Instagram works, big teams work, small teams work. Everything works. Yeah. So if everything works, what do you want to make work? And guys don't ask that question.
Yeah.
They don't think, like, I would love to just make long form videos on YouTube. Cool.
Yeah. Huh.
There's a model for that.
That's great.
And why are we wasting our time on TikTok and Instagram? Well, I thought you're supposed to be everywhere. Yeah. You don't have to be everywhere. Yeah. We could let's make YouTube work for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to have a membership. Okay, cool. Then let's stop doing, high ticket sales. I hate closing on the phone. Okay, cool. Let's learn how to sell with a VSL or with a sales page. I don't want to do that. I want to talk. Okay, cool. Let's do that. Everything works.
Yep.
And guys don't give themselves permission to make business easy. Business can be easy. Getting shredded can be easy.
Yeah.
Marriage can be easy. Everything can be easy if you first accept that as a belief and then you start to reverse engineer. Okay, cool. What is it going to look like to make this feel easy?
Yeah. Well, and there are human limitations that we have to accept. Like if I think I can do it all, I can do it all excellent. I can live like there are 40 hours in every day and just pour myself out. That's just not real. Like I'm not living in reality if that's me. Something you said when you asked, what do you want? The thought that came to my mind, because I know I've heard guys say this, is they don't know, but usually all they know is, well, I think I want what that guy has.
Right.
And so then we just copy, like you're saying, I copy the guy who's doing the TikToks or doing the whatever. And we're like, why are you doing this? This isn't, how does this help you with what you want? But so what I think I hear you saying is like, if you don't know in your heart, like one, what you're made for, what God made you to do, right, and what your desires and passions are, you're just going to fill it with other people's stuff. And then you may get success. You may hit the numbers and do all the things, but you're probably going to hate it. Like the monster you build is going to destroy you.
It's interesting. It does go back to like the relationship too, not being connected to yourself. So you don't trust your own voice. You don't spend enough time in silence and stillness and listening and hearing like, hey, God, what's your agenda for my life?
Yeah.
And try and really get aligned with where is your vision and reveal to me, am I on the right path? If not, can you please shut this door and make it obvious to me? So I think a big part of, building a business God's way, a better business is having that posture of surrender to a point where it's not that you're not taking action, but you're also like, hey, if I'm on the wrong path, let me know.
Yeah.
Like I want this to glorify you. Like I'm going to keep moving in this direction. But if this is supposed to be a door closed, shut it quick.
Yeah.
I believe that heart posture when you're truly praying your will, not my will.
Yeah.
It took me about 2.5 years before I started to pray that honestly. And somebody actually heard me talk about how I was praying, and they caught me and they said, do you realize you're asking God to go work for you like every one of your prayers?
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're basically praying for God to like work your agenda.
Yeah.
Have you ever?
You want to be His God?
Yeah.
Really serve me, Lord.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about asking God to reveal to you what His agenda is? Like, do you think maybe His agenda might be better than yours? I'm like, well, I figure I know. Like, you don't believe that God knows the desires of your heart. Yeah. And so I started to go back to even my relationship with like, do you know your father? Do you know who? Or maybe I was like that third person in the talents where he didn't know his father and he hid, the bag of silver, because he didn't know who his father was, that he wanted him to actually multiply.
Yeah. Well, that's something I want to talk with you about, because I know you've been talking more recently about that idea of multiplication.
Yeah.
And not just in business, but like in your home and your life and everything else. And you were talking about it before, like this idea of faithfulness is something that people miss in that parable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. So what happened with me was when my, marriage fell apart, I became fearful of like building. Like I said, I'll shut down the business, I'll downsize everything. And I had a negative taste in my mouth with regards to like scaling. I actually joked around, like I called it the satanic cult of scaling. And I don't believe that. There's people that need to scale, and like scale's not a bad word. But I did have like all these people that I was trying to keep up to were obsessed with scaling. So I had this bad taste in my mouth with scaling, and it took a while to realize that God has no problem with abundance. He promises He wants us to have abundance, but He doesn't want abundance to own us. And I think, if you look at the Bible too, like money is talked about more than any other topic in the Bible. It's crazy. There's more references on money than any other subject matter. And I didn't know this. And I was like, why is money talked about so much in the Bible? And it's because where your money is where your heart is.
Yeah.
And God cares about your heart.
Yeah.
God doesn't care if you're wealthy. God doesn't care if you're poor. He cares about your heart.
Yeah.
So both of these can become idols. So I think this story gave me permission to go build again, because there was this fear of like, I started taking even pride in downsizing everything, simplifying everything. And really deep down, it was just fear. I was scared of like losing my reputation and losing my status in that. And I realized that I still hadn't fully surrendered even after I downsized everything, because I was still trying to hang on to, the business as it was and this new model. So when I read this story of the 3 talents, God revealed something to me that I never saw in the story. And we know how, the first 2 servants took their bags of silver, and the first one took their 5 bags, turned it into 10, and the second servant took the 2 bags and turned it into 4. And then we know the third servant hid their bag in the ground. And it's interesting because I was looking at I was researching like how much of these bags of silver actually weigh and cost. Each bag was about $18,000 and weighed 75 pounds. So this is some substantial amount of like weight and income to manage for somebody else. And we know the parable is the master left for a long time. He didn't micromanage them from a distance. He came back and asked them to give an account of, so what'd you do with my money?
Yeah.
And what we know is that what he said to the first and the second person who doubled their investment was, well done, good and faithful servant.
Yeah.
This is what I never saw. And this is what God revealed to me. We don't know anything else about those first two servants.
Yeah.
We don't know if they were smart. We don't know what their personality trait was. We don't know if they were good. All we know is they multiplied. And God said, well done, good and faithful servant. And up until that point, I never really associated the word multiplication with faithfulness.
Yeah.
And then what we see to the third servant is he called him lazy and wicked. Oof. Right? Not in context to his character, but to his productivity.
Yeah. That's what that guy do. He was like, I was afraid. So
he did not.
Buried it in the hole.
He maintained.
Yeah.
So the first two multiplied and the third guy maintained. So the guy that maintained was punished and the two that multiplied were awarded.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, wow, God's giving me permission to, he wants me to multiply.
Yeah.
And not just my income, but everything. And I think that really, really has been kind of permission, you can go rebuild. You don't have to be afraid. The money isn't the problem. It's your heart.
It's so crazy because I think it was just this last week. I was talking with my wife and I was thinking on that parable, I kid you not. I was thinking, man, I feel more like the guy who's buried the talent more than I am the guy who's done anything. And it's ironic that the talent is literally a measure, right?
Yeah.
But it's also something we use to describe your giftedness, your talents.
Right.
And it could be anything. God could be giving you a calling. He could be giving you a ministry. He could be giving you a family. And the things that you're in charge of shepherding, of stewarding, you may just be going, they'll always be there. I'll just put them in a hole.
Right.
And meanwhile, the guy next door is the guy who's going, no, I'm investing in it. I'm investing in my family, investing in my wife. And that was convicting to me. And because I guess that was one of those mirror moments for me as I'm looking in the mirror going, I don't like who I see,
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be that way. I want to be the guy who's all the things that I should have invested and multiplied, I did. Yeah. And I didn't leave anything behind. You know? So I think that was no coincidence.
Yeah.
Lord, it
isn't talked about in the church very often. The only guy here who talks about it is John Bevere. He talks about it in his book, Multiplication.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very interesting. But I think it's a great message. I think it's hey, God wants to see you expand. He wants to see you, reach more people. He wants to see your gifts utilized.
Yeah.
And I think people are fearful of that requires getting outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Investing is scary, especially when you don't maybe feel like I've got enough. And I think that's also what God rewards too. When you even look at generosity, it's not the size of the gift or even the investment, but it's the size of the sacrifice and what it takes to double it. Because what's interesting in that same story is that the first guy doubled it from 5 to 10 and the other doubled it from 2 to 4.
Yeah.
So they were both called good and faithful.
Yeah.
So God isn't going to compare me to a guy that maybe has a lot more talent than me. He's just going to look at what I've been given. Hey, did I utilize what I was given?
Yeah.
But he's not going to say, well, look, he did. And that actually freed me of the spirit of comparison.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be compared. I'm not going to be sized up against other people. I'm going to be sized up against myself.
Yeah.
When I have to give an account.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love it. It hit me too. All of them received something they did nothing to deserve or earn. It was the master's gift for them to steward. It wasn't them going, I made this, I built this, I produced this thing.
Right.
All of our gifts, every good and perfect gift comes from the Father, that's the thing we have to recognize. If we think that somehow it all depends on me.
Right.
Instead of, no, I just was faithful with what he gave me.
Yeah.
That's it. It's all coming from him.
Yeah. There's a verse in Proverbs, I forget which one. It might be chapter 22:10, but it talks about how you're not experiencing abundance because you're toiling too much.
Oof.
I totally missed that. A friend pointed out to me yesterday. I'm like, wow, I'm toiling too much,
Yeah.
which is why I'm not experiencing abundance.
Yeah.
And I think, there's so much striving on your own will and shoulders that like God wants the glory.
Yep.
It's like you're taking all the credit. Like,
I love that. Yeah.
let me get some credit here too. You can go this far on your own, but if you really want some credit, you're going to have to let me kick in.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have you do something that you couldn't do on your own. That's going to require me. And I think we're just like fearful of like letting God like, hey,
Yeah.
we don't know who he is.
Yep. I think that that ties in, like there's the principle in scripture of rest, of Sabbath,
Yeah.
And you see there's a cost when we've ceased to Sabbath, when we don't rest,
Right.
because it reminds us, I'm not God, God is God. And when I cease working, he's still God. He still is in control, and I can trust that he has it in his hands. Right.
Yeah.
And when we work to the point where we're like, there is no rest, we're ultimately saying, I don't trust you. You're not going to take care of me.
Right.
I got this. It's all me. Well, Vince, I appreciate you being here and having this conversation with us. I appreciate you being very real, very vulnerable about what you have gone through and are currently experiencing in your life, that it isn't just, sometimes I think it can be easy for people to come on and feel like I have to tell all the ways that it was bad, but everything's hunky-dory and it's all painted and pretty now and there's no problems. And I appreciate that you're not in that boat. You're not just saying, well, I was a bad guy once, but now everything's perfect. That takes real courage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's, I'm here with 3 kids in another country. She's got a house 3 minutes away. I'm in the dream house. And that house hasn't sold, but I feel like God's also like, hey, he hasn't sold probably for a reason. So, it's an extra weight to carry. Mm-hmm. All the reason I share all that is because there is a consequence to all of this of like ignoring things that are like warning signs. But at the same time, God's been so good and merciful and compassionate and has been just providing strength. And I know that, this story is not over.
Yep.
And I think if you're going through a really, really tough time, there's a strong reason for it. And hopefully you can humble yourself enough to like figure out like what is supposed to come from this.
Yeah.
Who do I need to become next? Like this isn't my last chapter.
Yeah.
We're still writing the book. So I think that's the perspective that you need to have when you're in a really tough you're in a really, really tough place. You just have to realize like we're still in the middle of the race.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of miles. Like we're just in the middle of the race. This race is not over. There's a lot of miles still to run.
Yep.
So hey, just focus on the mile that you're in.
Yep. It's like you're in the middle of a movie and you're right in the middle and you're like, I don't like the way this movie's going. Yeah. You walk out before the ending and it's like the ending was the big reveal. You get the happy ending of, ultimately we end up with Jesus,
Yeah.
We belong to him. I want to say this though, to the guys watching and listening, you can build something really impressive and you can lose the things that matter most to you. So your identity is not your achievements. It is not in your net worth. Your legacy, it begins in your home. It begins ultimately at the foot of the cross, at Jesus' feet, and worshiping him. So if you are watching today and you don't know him, or you maybe would say you know him, but like Vince was saying, I didn't have this relationship with Christ that I could have had. I would encourage you right now, wherever you are, take a moment, say a prayer, something like this, like, Lord Jesus, I ask that you would be Lord of my life. Be my Savior. If you are not someone who would claim him to be your Savior yet, invite him. He is extending that offer to you, and you can receive salvation from him. You just say, Jesus, I confess that I am a sinner. You are a great Savior, and I need you to save me from my sin. Not just from my sin, but also to empower me to live a life that I can't live on my own, in my own strength. If you try and you do what Vince was sharing with us, to live it in your own strength, you're going to find that the house of cards comes tumbling down. But that can be the greatest grace that God gives you, that you suddenly realize, I am a human being who needs Jesus to redeem me. And then you can start over. You can rebuild, but it will be something very different than what you thought life was supposed to look like. So if you prayed that prayer, you asked Jesus into your life, or you turned around and repented from something that was a direction you were going that you know was not where God had you, I invite you, reach out to us. Leave us a comment below. You can reach us at dudes@standupdude.com. And also you can go to standupdude.com/took-a-stand, took a stand with dashes in there. We have some resources there for you for free. We want to be able to offer those to you as you continue on your journey in becoming the man that God made you to be. Guys, thank you so much. Thanks again, Vince, for being here today. We really appreciate you. Hope to have you back on, actually, and just kind of get an update on how life is going. Yeah,
Absolutely.
We'll do it for sure. Thank you.